Good morning and welcome to the YouTube Trailer Park News and Events channel. We've got something very serious to report this morning. I will put the link to the original video on the Just Me channel with Jesse and Pavana down in the description, and I will also put the link to the clipped version over here that Winter Moon has posted on her channel. This is a very serious situation we have going on at the nursing home across the street from the trailer park. It's really not funny, but it shows that there's a pattern here of more than just biting a cop for illegally disposing of a desk. The other thing is Denise was pulling up a criminal record on Mr. Davis, Mr. Jesse Davis of the Just Me channel, yesterday? Or the day before? Didn't even have the right Jesse Davis. And it's almost like insta karma, in my opinion, just an observer looking in. And here we go. Let's take a listen.
Okay. This is from the Berkshire Eagle, Friday, September 8th, 1995. The woman, Denise S. Mateau, 42, remained with the marchers, but was handcuffed and escorted away by police when she confronted the organizers and tried to disrupt the healing ceremony that followed the march on the courthouse steps. Mateau, who lives on Union Street, was arrested by Sergeant Terrence Donnelly and charged with disorderly conduct. So there were these, protesters. They went, marchers. They weren't like protesting anything. It's just a women's, Take Back the Night march. Right. And it went past where Denise lived, and Denise didn't like it. And then you can see the next article, the woman convicted for conduct at rally. It's that long, thin one. And that's about a year later. And so she was sentenced to 100 hours of community service. She confronted the marchers, and she yelled that they were being brainwashed by a women's center. Now, the protesters and everybody said, the article continues, that the protesters and everybody said, look, I'm sorry, not protesters, but the marchers and the peacekeepers said, don't encourage her, don't engage her, even though she was just, yelling at them. And so they were, the marchers were chanting things like rape is hate, women will not tolerate, again, this is all from the article. And so Denise went and, got into people's faces, according to the article, yelled at them. She claimed that the march was a training ground for violence, not a protest against violence directed at women. And in fact, the article describes, quote, at one point, Assistant District Attorney said Mateau approached the mother and sister of Crystal Hopkins, a high school student murdered in November 1994 by Adam Rozier, proclaiming that they had been brainwashed. So these they're just women's march. The Take Back the Night rallies. That's what they are. They're not political. They've got candles and stuff like that. Lit. If you remember, they were, they would chant some things, but they weren't like you think of protesters. Like they would just sort of support women, against violence against women. And Denise is just running up to them, yelling and screaming. So she wanted to get up to the microphone. She pushed a cop. She was arrested for that. The jury found her guilty after less than a half hour of deliberations. It's all in the article. Now, the judge said, and this is, again, 1996, Denise is 43, that this was Mateau's fifth conviction for disorderly conduct.
Wow.
Warned her that she risked incarceration if she continued to behave in such a disorderly fashion.
Wow. That sounds like someone who should be off the streets.
In the grand scheme of things, it's not the worst crime, the judge said. But if you continue coming back in, you could go to jail for 6 months. At first, Rutherford imposed the maximum fine of $200 with a $50 surf fine and $35 in court costs. Harrison, her attorney, said this would be an imposition on Mateau, who lives on a limited income. Rutherford then ordered her to perform 100 hours of community service within 60 days.
So things can be done.
So people, who have listened to Denise Mateau have heard her, convey imagined conspiracies about the Berkshire Eagle and talk bad about that paper. And you're wondering, like, it's just some random local newspaper. Well, and you've heard all of her imagined conspiracies about women's centers. And, well, now you know why.
Yeah, that's crazy. Wow.
So, yeah, she was at the point where, again, it was 5 disorderly conduct convictions. And the judge said, if I have you here again, you're going to go to jail for 6 months. And, Denise realized that, like, look, if she got into trouble around there again, she was going to jail. And so she decided, she needed to, move out, go somewhere else where she didn't have that kind of record.
So that's the real reason she skedaddled to Texas.
Well, see, and she just pulled all those public records on you, and looky here.
Yeah,
just an actual real public record.
Yeah. She put out a lot of fake criminal claims against me, and I was like, God, if you're going to research and put this stuff out, at least make sure it's factual. It's sad, but so what was this first one? Is this also just a story about the march?
Oh, so yeah, she this was a different arrest. It's the 1989 Berkshire Eagle. Denise Mateau. So yeah, it's the other one, the one that we skipped over. It's the smaller one, the smallest one by size.
Those were the only 3 that I have.
Yes, so it's
she
the
should
third
have
one.
kept watching because she's streaming about South Bend right now. She should have kept watching.
Yeah. So that's a 1989 article, Berkshire Eagle. Denise S. Mateau, 36 of 310 Main Street, Great Barrington, was found guilty of being a disorderly person and placed on probation for 1 year. She will appeal the finding.
Wow.
So yeah, as when it got to 1996, that was her, according to the judge, her 5th conviction for various things.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's unfortunate.
She is an actual criminal. She has multiple, they're granted.
There you go. Yeah.
Although, look, she's not a physical threat, but pushing a cop.
I don't know about that. I could see her slapping somebody for real.
I think the cop that she bit would tend to disagree with that. But hey, what do I know? Just reporting the news.
Well, her pushing a cop is not, going to hurt the cops. But like,
that's just stupid.
Like she could have been charged with like assaulting an officer. Like she got lucky that it was just a misdemeanor, But she's actually committed a violent assault on a law enforcement officer, and she's been convicted 5 times of crime.